how other people respond to me being expressive is none of my damn business. How they react is none of my damn business. And that when people react in a way like that, it says a lot more about them than it does about me. Hey, what is up, y'all? It's your girl, Danielle, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am Danielle. I am a self-love and mindfulness coach, and I help Black women reclaim their peace and personal power and really just become the woman that God created them to be. Today, we're going to be talking all about emotional safety, what it looks like, what it doesn't look like, how to know that you're in a relationship that is emotionally safe for you, and what you are essentially responsible for when it comes to relationships. About 2 weeks ago, what kind of prompted me to be thinking about this is the fact that something that I've been working through in therapy is this belief that I have that if I express myself, somebody will not like me. I will make somebody else uncomfortable. And as we began really peeling back the layers, I realized that it's not that I don't want other people to like me or that I'm afraid that I'm not going to be likable. It's the fact that I have a lot of evidence in my life based on my circumstances and situations where when I have expressed myself in the past, it has been met with judgment, shame, guilt, manipulation, gaslighting, and then essentially I am disappointed, right? And then I am now left with the decision to decide whether or not this person is going to stay in my life, if I'm going to walk away, if this is just something I'm going to have to tolerate, and I'm just left hurt, right? And so what I have done to cope with that is that I have learned to just not express myself. I don't like to express my discomfort. I've learned to just kind of like suck it up, embrace the suck, and just keep it moving. But as I'm working through things in therapy and I want to go from anxious attachment to more secure attachment, I also lean towards avoidant attachment as well sometimes, which is why I don't express myself. I have realized that emotional safety is really, really big for me. And for a lot of reasons, right? Because I want to feel safe enough to be vulnerable. I want to feel safe enough to know that you love me enough to where even if you don't fully agree with how I feel, you created space for me. Right? And I usually don't need anybody to fix anything or really do anything. I really just need you to know how I feel. And if you decide to change your behavior, then great. And if you choose not to change your behavior, well, then the ball's in my court then, right? And so I have just been kind of like working through, and even when I was in therapy, not this past session, but the session before that, I said, maybe I should really start to get a better understanding of why I am so more invested in how other people feel and the discomfort other people may feel about me expressing my discomfort than my own discomfort. And so today I really wanted to talk about emotional safety because I feel like a lot of us experience not being emotionally safe. And sometimes when we grow up, we don't have these words, right? Especially if you were a millennial and you grew up in the 80s and the 90s and the early 2000s, therapy wasn't really a thing. We didn't learn about being overstimulated and stress and anxiety and, how to view yourself as valuable. No, we had boomer parents or Gen X parents who grew up in the crack era. You know what I'm saying? They grew up during a time where there were race riots. So they were trying to teach us how to survive, right? And they were raising us in a way that they were raised. But the day and time that we live in now as adults is not the same that they were raising us to live in. And so now a lot of us are kind of left with this deficit. And I hesitate to use the word deficit, but it is a deficit, right? If you don't know what it feels like to build a healthy relationship or to express yourself without fear or judgment or to, really feel comfortable being yourself, being authentic, not worrying about what other people think and how other people feel, that is a deficit, right? That is a deficit. And so today we're going to close that gap. We're going to bridge that gap. We're going to put a word to the thing that you need and that you may have been lacking. And we're going to work through it together. And I always like to preface these type of videos with this. One, I'm not a therapist, okay? I'm just a girl who's got some behavioral health experience, almost a decade worth of behavioral health experience. I study this stuff because I love it. It's a passion of mine. It may not be necessarily what my degree is in, but it is definitely a passion of mine because I feel like the reason why we have so much animosity and resentment amongst family members and in society and amongst each other, and so much discord and disharmony and the inability to work together, and why families are breaking apart, is because we are lacking emotional intelligence. We are lacking emotional safety. And so when I create this space, I'm creating it for very specific people who realize that they cannot keep going on the way that they've been going on, that something has been off, they can't quite put their finger on it, and they're ready to do something about it. So emotional safety is defined as somebody's ability to be vulnerable and open and expressive when it comes to their emotions. And this is supposed to exist in our relationships, right? Anytime that you are attached to someone, you are supposed to feel comfortable. You are supposed to feel like that person is a safe space for you, right? And you all know, if you've been watching me for a little while, I am a firm believer that everybody does not have the capacity, the mindset, or the skill, or the ability to be a safe space for you because they're not even a safe space for themselves, right? Or they just can't offer that to you for whatever reason, okay? And again, that says a whole lot more about them than it does about you. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, the expectation is that they will love you unconditionally. That even when you express your discomfort, whether it's about something that they did or about something that's in the world or that happened to you, that it will not be met with a brick wall or with harsh words or, just this sense of like not being accepted. Right. And if you grew up with parents who were not emotionally safe for you, you have created other relationships that do not reflect emotional safety. Right. And so you may have, so how you'll know whether or not your parents were emotionally safe is that you may express to them, I don't like it when you do this. And then they tell you all the reasons why they did it and that you should go and that you should get over it. They'll invalidate your experience and your emotions. They will oftentimes be disinterested in what it is that you have to say. They are not trying to hear what it is that you got going on. And anytime you do open up and express yourself, it's oftentimes met with judgment. And so I'll give you a personal example. I had something frustrating happen to me. And there's a person in my life, I won't name who they are. They have oftentimes not been an emotionally safe person for me. And they're supposed to be. We'll put it that way. They are supposed to be. And so, I don't express myself to a lot of people because, like I said, I'm working through this discomfort, right, of being uncomfortable with expressing my discomfort, but doing it anyways. And so long story short, something happened to me that made me very frustrated. And I just wanted to get it off my chest. That was it. I just wanted to be heard. That was it. I didn't need anybody to fix anything. I didn't need anything. I just needed an ear. And so I get in the car and I'm talking to her about what's going on. And first of all, we keep getting interrupted. And that should have been a red flag right there. Like sometimes God be like, no, don't do it. And I'll keep doing it anyways. But long story short, I was in the car maybe 8 minutes talking about what had happened. And next thing you know, she's like, get over it. God, you've been talking about it the last 20 minutes. That was my face. I was literally like everything in me shut down. Like I felt so invalidated. And, you know, I've said this before, but if I am not careful, my thinking will become very destructive, and not to other people, but to me. And I have struggled with, you know, just being completely honest, I have struggled with SI in the past. And if I am not careful, if I don't protect myself and I allow myself to be subject to stuff like that, my mind will start to go there. And so I shut down immediately, and I said, I haven't even been here for 20 minutes. Like, and I was just kind of like, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And this person, one, you know, just doesn't have the capacity on their own, but two, they've never had the capacity for me, especially when it comes to me expressing my discomfort, whether it's about them or it's about something else that's going on in my life. But it's frustrating for me because they have it for other people. They can offer it to other people, but when it comes to me, for some reason, they're not able to do it. And I notice that a lot in my life. And sometimes I look at myself and I say, well, am I the problem? And, you know, and my therapist is like, you know, you have normal emotions. Like, and I realize that I extend grace to many people in my life. And oftentimes it is not reciprocated, and that is a problem. And I don't chalk it up to something is wrong with me. I think something is wrong with the relationships that I'm developing and that I am investing in. And something's wrong with my expectations for expecting for people to be there for me emotionally when they're not even able to be there for themselves emotionally. So instead of getting hung up on the fact that she was not able to be there for me, you know, I really began digging deeper into, you know, what I had really going on. And I came to the conclusion that how other people respond to me being expressive is none of my damn business. How they react is none of my damn business. And that when people react in a way like that, it says a lot more about them than it does about me. Anytime that you are expressing yourself and you are telling your story, or you're, you know, saying the things that you need to get off your chest, you know what I'm saying? And you're not being mean, you're not being nasty, you're really trying to get to some type of resolve or just trying to be heard and understood. You know, whenever somebody responds like that, it says a lot more about their internal world than it does about you. And in that moment, you know, you are met with a decision, right? Are you going to continue to allow that person to, you know, are you going to keep trying to make that person an emotional safe space, knowing that is detrimental to your mental health? Or are you going to take a step back, observe the relationship from an objective point of view, and decide whether or not it's worth developing in another way, or if it's worth pulling back from? And I tell you, because I am semi-avoidant, I tend to pull back. Oh, I'm gonna pull back, baby. Okay, because what you're not finna do is make me feel like I'm crazy. Like, no. That's what we not gonna do. Okay, but that's for me. That's not for everybody, right? So I say all this to say, like, when it comes to emotional safety, right, and you're trying to figure out if the relationship is conducive for your mental health and if this person is emotionally safe, there's a couple of things that you need to understand and observe about somebody else, right? The first thing is, are they emotionally intelligent? Are they emotionally expressive? Right? Because people can only give you what they give themselves. And if they don't even express their emotions, if they try to stifle themselves, or they have distorted thinking, they're going to project that same thinking onto you. Because the bottom line is that emotions are uncomfortable. They just are. I mean, if it's uncomfortable to hear, imagine how uncomfortable it is to feel them. Like, you know what I'm saying? And part of me, you know, kind of going back to me, part of me feels like maybe I have more of a capacity because it was my job at one point to listen to other people. But, you know, other people have an easier time listening to other people. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden when it comes to me, it's all of a sudden like, oh, that I can't offer that to you. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. So ask yourself, is this person emotionally expressive? Are they emotionally intelligent? Are they in touch with their own emotions? And then ask yourself, is this person accountable? Do they hold themselves and others accountable? Or are they the type of person who likes to brush things under the rug? Do they like to sweep past things? Do they try to manipulate and gaslight you every single time that you try to bring something to them? Do they try to invalidate you, right? Do they try to what's that word? Project, or I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to say, but do they try to put on you, what is that you're saying about them in the same moment that you're saying it about them? So like if you say like, I don't like it when you do that, and they say, well, you do the exact same thing, and I don't like it when you do it either, and why do you do this and do that? Deflection, that's the word. Do they deflect, right? Do they act like something is wrong with you when you are actively trying to express something to them, right? And this does not mean to go at people all crazy. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that people who are emotionally intelligent, emotionally expressive, and accountable for their actions will not have a problem sitting and listening to you. Okay? The problem is that a lot of people do not have these skills, right? Or these mindsets, right? We make feelings seem so uncomfortable that we now have to make something so normal and so natural a thing, right? And then so a lot of these things you can't always fully tell, right? And because it's oftentimes how people respond to you is very indicative of their own internal world and what they have going on, right? And so they may say things about themselves that show you, oh, you have self-deprecating thoughts. Like you self-loathe a lot. I'm pretty sure that's the word I'm looking for. You talk bad about yourself a lot. You put yourself down a lot. You talk bad about other people a lot. Like when you start to observe people's behaviors towards other people, you get a little bit of and towards themselves, you get a little bit of a better understanding of what it is that and how it is that they're going to act towards you. Okay? And then the last thing is to ask yourself, has this person made me feel guilty or shameful for the way that I have felt? When you are emotionally safe with somebody, judgment goes out the window. And even if they are judging you, right? Because we all have our own feelings and emotions about things people bring to us, right? Do they make you feel that judgment? Do they make you feel shameful? Do they make you feel rejected through their words and through their actions, right? And sometimes it is through body language, okay? Let's just be honest, okay? Sometimes saying nothing is saying something. That's saying all the things that need to be said, right? But pay attention to the way that people make you feel, right? And some people say, especially in the church, your feelings ain't facts. God gave us feelings for a reason. Right? They are an inkling. Even the Holy Spirit is almost like a feeling, right? You can feel someone's presence. You can feel someone's energy shift. You can feel when somebody just like, I'm not supposed to be around you, right? So pay attention to those things. We live in a world that is hell-bent on teaching us to let go of these things. Oh, there's a bunny outside. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I got distracted. I have like 3 or 4 bunnies in my space, and I love them so much. Oh my gosh. Okay, anyways. So we live in a world that is so hell-bent on making us these numb robots. And that's not how we were created. That's not how we were created. And so I want to end this by saying, as a reminder, you are not responsible for the way that people respond to you, right? And, again, this does not give you free reign to go out and do and say whatever. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is that you deserve to be seen, you deserve to be heard, you deserve to feel valuable, you deserve to be in relationships that pour into you and don't just take away from you. And it's important that you cultivate those things. And again, I never tell anybody to cut people off unless they are abusive. Leave your abuser alone. All right? Leave the abuser alone. Okay? Get help. Go get help. Get help. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is something that I am very passionate about, if you cannot tell. Not just because of my, 8.5 years of behavioral health experience and the research that I've done, the reading that I've done, but because of my own personal journey, I've just realized I've settled for a lot of shit. And I don't want any other woman to ever have to settle for anything ever again. I mean, I've had way too many emotionally unfulfilling relationships to even count. And a lot of women feel that way, but they don't have the words to express it. They don't know that that's not normal. They don't know that that's how they're living, right? And so I'm here to say the hard things. I'm here to say the uncomfortable things. I'm here to break these freaking cycles that are keeping us stuck and stagnant and unhappy and unfulfilled. No, I feel like women should live happily ever after, and men. All of us should. But it takes us, saying the hard thing, doing the hard things, processing the hard things, letting them go, releasing them, learning from them, passing the lessons along, and really healing our hearts and our minds and our bodies and our souls. That way we're not continuously passing these things down to our children, because these things build up self-concepts and certain skills that you take with you everywhere you go. And so when you have this skewed lens based on these experiences that are detrimental to your mental health, maybe everything in your life is going to be skewed. Your lens is going to be so much smaller because of the detrimental experiences that you've had that have not built you up, but instead torn you down. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Listen, like, comment, and subscribe. You want to. Come on and join the tribe. What are you waiting for? We are all learning, growing, and glowing together. Make sure you all are following me on Instagram at Pretty Brown and Poppin'. Like I say, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, okay? Come on and join the tribe. I'm so close to 200. Come on. Spread the message. Spread the word. Let's heal together. Let's heal and strengthen our families and our community and our society, one woman at a time. I love y'all. Until next time, peace. All in my phone, I got options, and I don't wanna tell you to drop it.